Keep it in. I love it.
It's only just started recording. It's missed it. Ha!
Do it again.
No.
Please.
No.
It's so good. I love that face. It's amazing. Do it again.
No.
Do it again.
Just
Do
stop.
it
Stop
again.
the fucking video.
Roll it. Hello. Is you out there? Ah, there you are. Welcome to Band For Abit.
You've been a children's entertainer for too long.
Welcome. I'm Granger.
I'm Pete.
Yeah, and this is your one-stop shop for music things.
Wow, that was nearly as bad as mine last week.
Band For Abit is our Tuesday videos where we discuss music topics,
Our
band
information
topics,
show.
information show, and the news, and sometimes album reviews and things. We've been doing a little mini series. If you've been following us, we're doing a mini series. This is part 4 of our mini-series, and it's all been to do with why you should start a band, how to start a band, and last week we did how to get your first gig. This is all from a beginner's level, very basic stuff that if you are starting a band, you're going to want to know. And if you can take any calorific, enjoyable content from it, then we've done our jobs. And this week, part 4, we are doing band etiquette. Now, what does that mean, Pete? What does band etiquette really mean to you?
It means don't be a dick.
Video done. See you next week, guys.
No, right. To me, it means you are, if you're being paid for the gig, you've effectively been hired to do a job. Therefore, you are a professional. By definition, to be a professional, you are being paid to deliver a service. So be professional.
Yeah, that's a really good way of describing it. Actually, that was better than what I was going to say. Yeah, that's a really good way of putting it.
Yeah,
it's an incredibly fun job as well. If you
it's
call
an
it
amazing
job.
job.
Like, best job, wouldn't it? Like it was...
But I can't remember what I was going to say. It's gone.
Oh dear. We'll cut there. No.
Even if you're not being paid, and you're just doing a gig as a favour for somebody, you're still there to go and do. You're still there to do a job, and at the end of the day, you're still representing your band, something that you have built up, something that you've done yourself. No one else has done it for you. Don't fuck it up.
Yeah, there's a couple
by
of
turning up and being an idiot.
Yeah, these next 6 things on band etiquette at a gig are all going to definitely help you along your way in terms of not coming across in the wrong light to people, because you don't want to do that. If you want to go to a gig, you want to make fans, not enemies.
They can also be applied to.
They
could be applied to applying for bands, going and rehearsing for bands, going for interviewing at bands or whatever.
Yeah, of course.
So number 1,
diving straight in.
If you are on time, you are late.
Yeah, try and get there early, guys. We know that it's like a very basic one, and people are like, oh my God, it's like a job interview. You've got to be there on time. But it is really important.
Of course you have to be there on time.
Yeah, and often I've done gigs where the promoter isn't even there. Like, they've given us a time, like some ridiculous hour, like 3 PM for a gig that starts 8 o'clock. But, just do your best to get there before, if you can.
Now, we're not saying camp out the night before.
No. Leave your job. Right?
Get there 10 minutes early.
Yeah, get there 10 minutes early.
It shows willing.
Yeah.
It just instills confidence in the people that have booked you. It's just get there 10 minutes early.
Yeah. Sometimes
for
you'll
God's
see.
sake, don't get there late.
Do not get there for your sound check late. You'll have to be given an arrival time and approximate sound check time. The sound check times often move around and stuff depending on how it works.
Awesome.
If you're on first, you normally sound check last, generally.
Yeah, so all your gear's already set up. However, sound check time is generally not get set up on stage.
No.
It's be there on stage, set up, ready to hit a chord so the sound engineer can sound check you.
Yeah. And there will be occasions where you do not get a sound check because of whatever reason they're running behind, they can't get you in. Sometimes because another band was late. And then what are you going to think of that band? You've missed your sound check because Jimmy the drummer couldn't get there on time and they couldn't do their sound check. You're not going to be happy with Jimmy the drummer, are you? Or whatever band. I'm not hating on drummers. whatever band.
Ooh, the drum hate's coming back.
So yeah, get there on time. I mean, the whole thing will run smoother, and the promoter or the venue or whoever you're playing with will know that next time they book you, no issues. These guys will be here, no problem.
Yep.
If not every member can get there on time, let them know beforehand. For example, if you've got a member who's working late, can't get there till 5, can't get there till 6, whatever. Let the promoter know, organise it before so he's aware of it and he can either say, yeah, that's fine or whatever. Don't just rock up. One member rocks up and says, oh, yeah, I'm here now because I have to get here at 4, but the other 3 lads aren't going to be until 6. Is that a problem? And the guy says, yeah, well, actually, you're meant to be sound checking at 5, so yes, it is.
That is going to be a problem. If there's 2 guitarists or multi-instrumentalist in the band, I've done it before where we've sound checked and one of us, the other members, has just sound checked the other person's rig, like took it with them, set it up, and then we've sound checked another member's rig.
Yeah, I'm fine. I've done that loads of times. I think that works fine.
That's kind of a worst case scenario.
Yeah, but it's something to bear in mind. Cool. So that's number 1. Point numero 2. Make sure your gear is working before you go.
Your gear in good working order.
Yeah.
A gigging bit of gear is an absolutely hammered bit of gear.
Yeah.
So if you play a valve amp, make sure if there's ever anything not quite right with it, get it over to a tech, get it serviced, replace your valves every so often. Valves can last forever sometimes, but when they go, you usually take out your amp with it. So maybe have a backup ready.
Yeah. If you don't know what a valve amp is, we'll discuss that at a later date.
Yeah. Make sure all your cables are right. Have spare cables because cables can go bad at any point, especially if you're a cheap ass and you've not bought good ones.
I was going to say cables are the main culprit with this. Sometimes guitars go down as well, but normally it's a dodgy cable or a dodgy input.
Yeah. I rarely gig these days without a spare guitar for in case you snap a string on stage, in case you get there, your guitar for whatever reason isn't working, even if you've checked it 97 times beforehand.
It happens.
Make sure you know how, I can only really speak for guitarists, make sure you know how your pedal board goes together, so if you need to, you can rip it apart and you can try and get to just your basics. If something horrible goes wrong with it, be prepared for the worst case scenario.
Yeah. If you don't have 2 guitars, you don't have to have 2 guitars to do the gig.
No.
You just take your one, but make sure it's tested and everything's working, your amp's working, whatever you're using. Cables especially, because cables are normally, in my experience, the culprit.
Cables get absolutely hammered.
Yeah. If
they
something
get
starts
beer
going
thrown
wrong
over them, they get stud all over, they get chucked in a bag at the end of the night, tied in knots.
It can happen on stage too sometimes, and sometimes you can't help it. Like the cable breaks on stage. Like sometimes it happens, but if you've got a spare, yeah. And also, it's so much better than lending gear off people. Like if you're gonna lend, drummers sometimes borrow stands and stuff. Just make sure it's arranged beforehand. Yeah. It's sometimes really annoying when you get a drummer or whatever come and say, no, we're borrowing your cabs and we're borrowing your things. That's fine if it's been arranged. If it's not, sometimes you get people who like just assume, oh, we're using your cabs, aren't we? We're using the kit, right? We're using your stands. And it's like, well, actually, you never asked us, or the promoter never asked us.
There's nothing more annoying than being at a gig and you're the prepared one and some random idiot walks in from another band and goes, oh, I haven't got an amp, can I use your amp? And you're like, no, mate. Or have you got a kettle lead, or have you got a jack? Like, not being funny, mate. You're a guitarist. Why haven't you got the basics for a guitar? I'm not saying you need to You don't need to gig with like a $8,000 amp. You don't need to gig with. You don't like. You can gig with very basic stuff, but make sure it's in good working order.
Yeah. I'm a culprit for this because my basses in the past have not worked on stage, and then I've gigged again and they've not worked the next time, and I've done the same thing with the amp that I bought that I never checked properly thoroughly enough, and then it didn't work at a gig. And yeah, so I did this like in my 20s. This is like not even that long ago.
Yeah.
So I'm a culprit for this, for making sure that my gear is in good working order. But yeah, just make sure your shit works.
I used to carry enough spare cables so that I had spares for you.
Sounds about right. Plectrums as well. Make sure you've got plectrums and sticks. Plectrums and sticks. Make sure you got enough.
Yeah.
Cool. Point number 3.
Stick to your stage times.
Stick to your stage times. Very important. Depending on when you're going on, you might not get on at exactly the same time because the band before you might come out off slightly later or whatever. But where possible, stick to it as best you can.
Mm-hmm. Especially if there's a strict curfew. We did go into this in an earlier video in this series.
Yeah, we did. We did the video before, I think it was. If you are gonna be late off stage, and then the band after you's late off stage, and the band after you's late off stage, that could cut the band on last set short. So it's really important. They're going to be like staring daggers at you if the promoter goes, "Sorry, we're on a curfew, lads. You're going to be off in 10 minutes," and it's not their fault because all the other bands have come off late or have done longer. Then you're not making friends there, are you?
No, you're not making any friends.
Always go under or bang on or under. Like, try not to go over. It's if you go like, especially if you're doing like 10 minutes more or something, that can mess up the entire routine because you never know. The changeovers often are about 15 minutes. It normally takes 20 to 25 anyway, so you're already kind of on a back burner. So, yes. Point numero 4.
3.
I believe. No, we've just done 3.
4.
Bing, 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 bing.
Buy a fucking tuning pedal.
Buy a fucking tuning pedal.
There is nothing more irritating.
So
there is nothing more irritating than hearing a band try to tune up in a noisy pub. Or unprofessional. It's the most unprofessional. In fact, it's the biggest faux pas you can make.
This is the right ramble from you now.
I hate it. I hate it. At least, right? You can even get an app on your phone.
Yeah, you can. Fender's got a free one, I believe. I think I've got it.
Boss have a tuner app. I use it all the time at home. It's great.
Yeah. It makes it.
Buy a tuner pedal and check your tuning periodically on stage, because if it's hot and humid, your strings are gonna go out of tune.
Yeah, it happens.
Like,
especially
it's gonna
hard.
happen, especially if you're playing really hard and getting really into it.
And
you're
a
gonna knock
gig,
your
you
strings
normally,
out of tune.
You're normally playing a bit harder than a rehearsal
So
gig as well.
Be ready for in between songs as soon as you get a second, so you can mute your whole signal chain with your tuning pedal and just tune up quickly and then hit the next song. Perfect. I've done it before in the middle of songs, like where it's a section I'm not playing in, just quick, bang, 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 done.
Yeah. You want a pedal that when you press it, it mutes the everything. It mutes your guitar, so you can tune. You can look down. You can see the lines and the E and all that. And you can tune, but nobody else hears you. It's so important. It's a big thing with young bands. I've seen it mostly in young bands doing this on stage, and it looks really unprofessional. And anytime I see it, I cringe. I've seen it happen in the middle of a song when the guy's not got a pedal and he's just doing it in the middle of a song. You know, the rest of the band is still playing. The guy's, yeah, well, and you're like, oh my god, what are you doing, dude?
You can't hear if it's in or not because there's so much noise going on around you.
Exactly. Or you've got your singer trying to speak to the crowd, and then in the background just hearing the guitar, the bass is frigging bing, bing, bing. Oh, I'm not sure. Are you in? Am I in? Are we? Can you just do E again? You've lost 5 minutes.
Even at rehearsals, tune a pedal.
Yeah, tune a pedal.
Unless you want to get punched in the face by me.
Make sure it is set that when you press it, your amp goes silent and mutes everything, and you can tune, and then you can just press it again. I recommend the Boss. I have the T1000. That's the big shiny one. I'm not going to put Amazon affiliate links below. We aren't going to do that.
I
But
use the TU3.
yeah, which is pretty much the standard kind of. There are others. There are cheap.
TC
there are cheaper
Electronic do a
ones.
really good one.
They
TC
do.
Electronic do a great one where you can play all your strings at once, and it'll tell you if each individual string is in. It gives you like a little graph where all your strings are.
Oh, that's cool.
That's really
See?
good.
Posh ones like that. There's cool Korg ones.
I think they're actually cheaper than the Boss one.
If you don't want to spend mega bucks, it's Behringer one.
If you're gonna use a headstock tuner, turn your guitar down, because that works on vibration, not on sound. It picks up the vibration going through your guitar, through the wood, resonating. It goes on vibration, not sound. Also, just another top tip and a more professional tip. If you do use a tuning pedal, try and make sure that everyone in the band is using the same tuning pedal.
Because they're all slightly.
Yeah, I got that. I can't remember where I got that from years ago. But yeah, try and make sure that everyone who needs a tuning pedal,
if you can,
normally stringed instruments, really good idea. Yeah, but if you're going to go and buy one at the same time, really good idea. Everyone buy the same one.
Yeah, of course. And you can get them secondhand too. Like, don't be afraid. Yeah. You can get the Boss one secondhand for probably, I'm going to guess like 30 or 40 quid. I don't know for sure. Maybe a bit more. Behringer do one for about 20 quid, I reckon you get secondhand.
Yeah, and it's a really shit thing to have to spend money on. But if you want to be a professional band, go and get a tuning pedal.
All you need is a pedal and another lead, because you've already got to go from the amp to the pedal, from the pedal to the guitar, and that's it.
Yeah.
That's it. Get a tuning pedal. Very important, really important. If you take anything away from this video, take that one away. Point numero 5, unless you want to rant about it a bit more.
No, I'm done. This is a big rant for me as well as a sound engineer.
Numero 5.
When you're sound checking and the sound engineer asks for one specific instrument, that does not mean that they want everyone in the band to suddenly start playing random shit or to start tuning up or anything else. If the sound engineer asks for you to play the kick drum, that is not a cue for the singer to start warming up down the microphone, or for the guitarist to decide he's gonna try and remember his scales, or for the bass player to check if his rig's working. That is the time when the sound engineer just wants the kick drum.
But what if the keyboardist is trying to plug in the DI at the same time, and then he's testing his keyboard out? Is that okay?
No.
But what if the guitarist John, he's just got a brand new guitar and he needs to warm his strings up?
No.
But what if, this is the point, you see, there, 100%.
It doesn't fucking matter.
It doesn't matter. Whatever it is, listen to your engineer.
If the sound engineer wants the kick or the snare or the tom or one guitar or one bass or one vocal, you give him what he asks for, or else he's going to hate you. And at the end of the day, the guy's there to make you sound good. So if he hates you, he's not going to give a shit about your sound.
Yeah, exactly. You're going to come across different engineers with different equipment. Sometimes you'll come across engineers who are less qualified than others, and you'll come across engineers who are really qualified, but the gear isn't as good. Just be nice guys, you might be doing a gig without monitors. You might have a great sound engineer, a really nice guy. He's got your sound out front brilliant. He knows exactly where your levels are and stuff, but you can't hear yourselves very well. Don't get arsey, often an engineer will do their best, especially I'm talking about monitor mixes now. So that is the speakers on stage that the band listen to hear themselves. You'll often hear in the sound check, you'll see bands saying, "Oh, can I have more guitar? Can I have more vocals?" They're there to do the best job they can to give you a good mix on stage. Sometimes
you also, just on the back of this, normally at smaller gigs, like in pubs and clubs, there isn't a monitor engineer. There's just one sound engineer.
Yeah.
And when they're stood out front, they can't hear what the monitor's giving back to the band. So you need to be very vocal and very straight to the point as to what you want in your monitor mix. If you're lucky enough to have monitors and things like that. If you want more guitar, you need to say, I want more of this guitar in this monitor, rather than saying I need more guitar, because that means, could be anything really.
Yeah, that's a good point, actually.
So you need to be very straight to the point. Don't fanny about, because sound engineer, sound check time, you need to be in, off, done.
Yeah. And they're there to get the best sound out of you. Yeah, that's like you said, So if they want just a kick, they want just a kick. It's really annoying when you start hearing other members of bands, guitarists especially, start just playing. I was a guitarist.
It is normally guitarists or drummers. It's normally guitarists or drummers.
They just
the drummer will start just smacking the kit. You're like, what are you doing?
Yeah, and the engineers still setting on mics and shit, still putting mics in front of amps or whatever. Sometimes they'll do gigs where you don't have them.
This has happened to me before.
Go on.
When your sound engineer is miking up your instrument, i.e. your kick, and they've got their head next to your kick, miking it up and wiring it in, that is not time for you to decide to see how loud your kick is going to be.
That's not good. It's just like...
surefire way to blow out your sound engineer's ears before it's even managed to fucking turn on a mixing desk.
Oh dear. And it'll sometimes ask you to turn guitars down, guys. We know it's crazy. Down. But often it's for the good of the mix, Don't feel like if you're on stage you can't hear your own guitar. Ask for it in the monitor before you start cranking up the volume, because chances are if it's mic'd up, you're going to crank up the volume, the mix is all of a sudden going to be loads of guitar, not much of anything else, and your overall sound isn't going to be very good. And you might not even get any more guitar on stage with it anyway, because he might have to turn the monitor mix down because you're turning your guitar so loud. So it's actually counterproductive. So that was point numero 5. Our final point of the afternoon, point 6. This is one that I have a thing with, really. Although, Pete, you agree with this, don't you, as well?
I do agree. I wholeheartedly agree with you, but it's not always possible to do this.
No, it's not always possible. Point 6 is, if possible, support the other bands who are there. Watch them. Some gigs you'll do, it might not be very busy. Sometimes you're just playing to the other bands and their mums and dads. It's nice to have a crowd and have a clap, even if there's only a few people there. I'm not saying stick around all night if you can't. You might be working the next day. You might have other things on. You might have to go because you're being dropped off or your bus leaves or whatever. But if possible, at least watch a bit of the other band's set.
And support the other band.
Yeah, I've done gigs where bands have literally turned up. Sometimes if you've got 2 gigs in a day, fine. Or you're doing a festival, an all-day thing, it happens. But if possible, stay and watch, because I've seen it before where a band has literally come on, done the sound check, gone and sat at the back getting drunk, not watched any other bands at all, gone done their set, got their gear literally off stage after they finished and fucked off. Literally could not wait to get home, couldn't wait to get out of there, had no interest in watching the bands. And you can tell, guys, even if it's just one of the band members, it's not always possible.
No, it's not always possible. If you've got a long drive home or something like that.
Yeah, fine. So don't feel bad about it if you can't. I'm just saying where possible do. It doesn't make you a bad person if you can't. The promoters aren't going to be like, oh my God, you didn't stay and watch, that's it. But it does show willing, and the other bands will pick up on that, because then you can say to them, oh, I really like that song you did on whatever. Oh, thanks. And then if they're wanting to do a gig and they support acts, oh, that band was really nice. That guy, what was he called? Yeah, let's get them to support us at this gig next week.
It's all about building relationships and building that network of people that you've got then to kind of help you along your way.
Totally.
The more people that you help, the more help you're going to get back in return.
Yeah.
It swings and roundabouts.
It's a nice thing to do, to support and watch the other bands, and you'd hope that they would do the same for you as well. If you've not got many fans there, or you're out of town, you might be an out of town gig. Yeah. So that was 6 points on band etiquette at a gig.
Yeah, man.
We hope you've enjoyed it. This has been a continuing mini series. If you have any comments or any questions about anything we've said, we are cramming a lot of information into not a lot of time. So we'll do other videos in the future where we'll delve into this a bit deeper. These are just the basics. Feel free to comment below, message us, and remember, if you've not already, please like the video, please subscribe if you feel like you enjoy our content. We're also on Spotify and Apple Music now, and Facebook and Instagram. So you can find us all there. You can even find mine and Pete's personal profiles. Oh, I should have said that.
Yeah. Anyway, we have been Band For Abit.
Yeah, thank you so much for watching, guys. We'll see you next week.
Bye.
Bye.